Hello and welcome back to the My Journey podcast, the place where I document my freelance journey. Today is another YouTube special, but as ever, I'll also be distributing this across all the various podcast platforms. If you are listening to this on the pod, just a heads up, I release an extra video every other week over on my YouTube channel. Just search for the MJ Social on YouTube and subscribe to be the first to see them. For those watching on YouTube, if you've not already subscribed, you're missing out. Make sure to hit that subscribe button. It would mean the absolute world, and you will be the first to see any future videos. So today I'm going to be talking about pricing, a topic which seems to trouble every freelancer, every person who is self-employed or starting a business. It's a really tough topic to get right. And I would say I probably still haven't got it right, but I'm happy with where my pricing is and could be at the moment. So I'm going to talk you a bit through where my pricing has kind of evolved over the years, where it started, where it is now, and where I think it should be in the future. So let's go right back to the beginning when I started freelancing. If you've been listening to this podcast, if you've been keeping up to date, you'll have heard about my journey into freelancing, why I chose to do it. And one of the first things I needed to do when I started out was decide my pricing, because ultimately you can do everything, but if you get to a client and they go, yeah, great, I'd love to work with you, how much does it cost? If you don't have that answer, that conversation is not going to go anywhere. So how I started out with my pricing was I kind of picked a figure I would like to be earning in the future at some point. It wasn't a massive ambition. It was kind of based on the jobs I'd been offered before I decided to go freelance, based on them figures really. And then I kind of worked out how many hours realistically could I be working on client work within a reasonable amount of time. I wasn't expecting this to happen within a month or 2 months, but I thought, in a year's time, how many hours do I think I could be working on client work? Given the fact you also have to factor in a lot of other stuff that you don't realise, like admin. Nobody pays you for the admin when you're self-employed. So you have to factor these things in terms of how many hours can you actually be working on client work. So I worked out how many hours I thought in a week I could be working on client work. And then I tried to break down how much time I thought those tasks took. And I will be honest, I had no idea. It was literally picking that figure, guesstimating how long it would take, finding somewhere in the middle, and using that figure. And I was probably way off. No, I was way off where I wanted to be. But I didn't know that. In my head, I knew how many clients I needed. I thought I knew how much time them clients would need. So I kind of had targets there, and it felt good. It felt daunting, but I had something there, and when I spoke to people, I had a price to say to them. Now, I got into the game, said them prices to a few people. Some people were quite shocked about how high they were. Other people were shocked about how low they were. But I realised very quickly that that was based on their value of my service and not on the price of my service. So some people, no matter what price you charge, will think it's too high, and some people will think you're undercharging. It's just the way it is. And I learned that very quickly. So I then had to start thinking, how do I value this service? And I started to make a journey to where I am today. And basically, I would say where I started, I would not be in business still if I'd have kept those prices. I've had to gradually increase them, and I took a big leap at the very beginning of lockdown, pretty much, to jump my pricing up based on a number of factors, which I will come on to shortly. But what I realised was that pricing model that I was using was ineffective, because ultimately it was based on me not knowing anything. So I'd probably, two areas I would say to be aware of is that factor in time, extra time for each client, no matter how long you think it is. Add another, couple of hours on top of it, depending on what your service is, but add in more time, because You will get some clients that are very demanding and other clients who aren't. That's absolutely fine. You need to find an average, not how quick you can actually do it. You need to find that average. The other thing to think about as well is do not underestimate how much time all of the work takes and how much time you actually have to spend doing that client's work. For example, I worked out how many hours it took me to do the work for the social media. I didn't include time such as responding to emails, setting up spreadsheets to do the analytics, setting up processes, contacting prospective clients, dealing with prospective clients, setting up new clients, dealing with insurance, dealing with the accounts. All these different things take time out of your day, and you need to have time to go and generate new business and to deal with all these things. And if you're not, just don't underestimate that time. I would probably start off very conservative in the amount of time you think it takes to do things. Moving on to a bit more about where I am now, you might have heard, if you've listened to the podcast, that I've recently launched a 3-tiered pricing system, which is loosely based on that model, but it's more based on me knowing the value of what I provide rather than the time it takes. The time comes into it still, so if somebody comes up to me with a bespoke request, I can still work out how much that should be. But the value I put on my time is based on the value I feel that brings to the client, not how much I want to be earning. And it's kind of like a chicken and egg situation, but it does work out eventually. I just felt that I wasn't valuing myself high enough, and therefore the clients weren't valuing, or my prospective clients, my clients definitely valued what I did, but my prospective clients weren't valuing what I did. And ultimately now, what I'm trying to do is bring together a tiered package approach that means that there is something there for the different types of clients and something there that they will find valuing. So I have packages on my website from coaching, strategy, and management. Coaching being at the lowest end of the price point, management being at the highest. Them packages bring different things to different people and are based on different selling points. So if you're after the management package, that's normally based on the fact that you don't have the time or the skills required to do social media marketing. You want to employ an expert. Whereas somebody on the coaching has the ideas but doesn't know how to implement them, just wants somebody there to reassure them and help them through the social media landscape. And in the middle, you've got strategy. They're the people who kind of don't want to relinquish the control for whatever reason that is, and there's plenty of valid reasons why you wouldn't want to do that as a business owner, but maybe doesn't know how to market their business and still wants that valuable input. And how I explain it is, coaching is people coming to me with their ideas and me kind of guiding them how to make that a reality and fine-tuning it. Strategy is me working on the ideas but them implementing it, and then management is me implementing it. So it's really interesting how they bring different value to different people in different ways. Now, they are more expensive the higher you go because they use up more of my time, more of my creativity, and you're paying for a high value of service. But it's less based on how many hours I work, because based on some of the packages I offered in the past, I was charging more for the thing that was worth less to the end customer because it took up more time, rather than charging more for the thing that is of more value. So that's definitely where I am now. I'm trying to base it on value to the customer rather than my time, but there is still an element of it in there. And also, I publicly display a rough price on my website, which is quite odd to some people. Some people don't do that, they keep their prices quite close to their chest. But what I've found is, since doing that, I've had a much better reaction. The leads I'm getting in are much stronger because people know what the price is roughly going to be, and they know what kind of ballpark it's in. They're not coming to me expecting a £100 service when it's £500. They're not coming to me, scared of approaching me because they think it'll be 1,000 when it's only 500. So it's worked quite well, and the leads I'm getting are much higher quality. So I would recommend looking at putting pricing on your website where you can. When it comes to the future, I don't know. I'm quite happy with where the price point is at the moment. I think there's still room to put it up a little bit more, but I'm sticking with it at the moment. And in the future, I want to I hate this word, but it's the best way to describe it where everyone knows what you mean. Passive income. I don't think there's anything such as a passive income in the fact that you do nothing, but I'm looking at ways I can maybe utilize my time to create something once and then sell that on multiple occasions. So, for example, creating worksheets or ebooks or that kind of thing that maybe the people who can't afford my coaching services but still want my expertise can kind of use it, but it's not bespoke to them, and they have to make it bespoke to them, the information that I'm giving them. But that's kind of, but that would still only support what I'm currently doing and where I am with my current price in terms of my day-to-day stuff. I would also love to see more speaking gigs and more one-off projects like that kind of coming in, more campaign work, and ultimately I want to start edging across to personal branding as well, which brings a whole other thing of value and pricing and what them prices should be. But they're probably a couple of years down the line. So yeah, for now it's about steadying the ship with this new pricing 3-tiered package, which I've only launched earlier this year. It seems to be working. Just give it a bit more time and triple check that that's working, and that publicly displaying them prices is right as well. And then hopefully trying to create some kind of assets that bring in a passive income, or maybe creating a webinar or something like that that isn't a scam like clickbaity or anything like that, is really true value to the people. But yeah, we'll wait and see where it goes. What I would love to know is how you guys price what you're doing, whether you're at the beginning of your journey and you're just starting out and you're testing the water and figuring it out, or whether you've been in this game for a number of years. I'd really like to learn from you and hear what your thoughts are on pricing. I genuinely do, because it is a topic that comes up in many a conversation with other freelancers across the board. And I've been really interested to hear what other people have to say on this topic, because it is one that I wouldn't even say it divides opinion, because I don't think anybody really knows how to do it properly. Like, I think everyone's got an opinion on it, but everyone's so unsure around it, and it is ultimately one of the biggest things that can make or break your business is pricing. If you get it wrong, you're not going to sell anything, or you're going to undersell yourself, which is a big issue within the world of freelancing. But if you get it right, who knows? You could smash the market out of the water. So yeah, definitely I want to hear from you guys on what you think about pricing. Drop it down in the comments below, send me a message on social at the MJ Social, and make sure whether you're listening on the podcast or watching this on YouTube, subscribe, comment, share this with a friend. That's how simple it is. Subscribe, whatever it is you can do, I would much appreciate it. Until next time, thanks for watching.